What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with another Toybiz figure review. We've got a package here today. This figure came out in the Sinister 6 box set from Toybiz back in the day, which included Doc Ock, Spidey, Black Cat, Kraven, Green Goblin, Venom, and Electro. So can you guess who's in this package? Well, we're about to find out. I'm gonna bust them open. And yeah, we'll take a look at this figure, run through it really quick. And I'm not gonna do a full, clean figurine scale, breakdown of it, just because this is an older Toybiz figure. You'll notice in my McFarlane Spider-Man review that I didn't use the clean figurine scale for it, for for the fact that this is an older figure. That's more meant for like the modern day figures that have much higher quality as far as like articulation, paint, and all those things. But Toybiz was still killing it back in the day, as we'll see with this figure. And another reason is also that I don't know the exact retail price for this. I mean, this one came in a box set, so obviously the price would have been quite a bit more than just getting a standard solo figure. But being that I don't know the exact retail price, we can't factor that into the scaling, so that would definitely affect the score. So it's not really fair to do a clean figurine scale on this guy, but nevertheless, we are going to bust him open and see what he's all about, or maybe she, huh? So let's crack it open and see who's inside. This should be a fun review. I got this figure around the same time that I got that McFarlane Spider-Man, the new one, the batch 1 version, which we will see later on in the size comparison section, of course. And before I forget, I want to give a big shout out to Joseph on eBay for hooking me up with this figure. Really appreciate you, sir. And he let me know that it was okay to give him a shout out in this review. So thank you very, very much, Mr. Joseph on eBay. Yeah, here we go. Getting straight to it. All right. Ooh, really, really nice. Well packaged in a nice Ziploc baggie right here. Let's go ahead and get him out. So have you guys guessed who it might be from the box set? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Who do you think, huh? Well, I'm going to show you in 5 seconds, so get your answer ready, because we're about to find out if you're right. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is none other than the Green Goblin. That's right, this is the Green Goblin from the Sinister 6 box set back in the days by Toybiz. And you'll notice he is very stylized, doesn't exactly look like the comic Green Goblin that we're used to seeing, or even the animated series Green Goblin. This is a very stylized Green Goblin, and it's actually based on a very specific artist's work. And that would be Alex Ross. That's right, none other than the great Alex Ross, who does a lot of, he does more of a painting style when it comes to figures. For the comics and stuff, when he drew Spider-Man and his villains and stuff, he does a lot of painting style type of work. And so a lot of his, artwork looked a lot like this for the Green Goblin, which I like it. He has like a very hyper realistic style, so it really looks almost like a real life type of image when you're like looking through his comics. So this Green Goblin figure is a great representation of that. And shout outs to the review spot on YouTube, because he's the first review that I saw of this guy, and was the reason that I was made aware of this figure even existing in the first place. And just really, really dope looking figure. So gonna show his accessories real quick, and then obviously we'll get straight into his articulation and whatnot. So he does come with this really awesome glider, which is, you know, fairly basic in design, but it still looks really, really good. I like the very dark gray color of it. Seems like we got like a little spot or something, maybe a little paint missing right there or something, but not too bad. Got red paint for the eyes. I like how the glider is shaped like a bat. You know, that's always been a cool feature of the Goblin glider. So yeah, looks like a bat. And then in the back here, where the thruster is at, we got a really nice wash going on with the silver paint to kind of make it look, you know, like it's worn and, you know, it's been used. It's got some wear over time, but that is really, really nice detail in that silver paint. Very, very nicely done. And you can see we also have the two, you know, kind of foot, not latches, but, you know, the foot holders, let's just call them. Also with that same type of paint scheme, we've got silver paint with a nice black wash to show off a little bit of wear, which looks really, really nice. Nice size to this glider too. So very, very cool glider there. And then he's usually comes with 2 pumpkin bombs. The seller only had 1, which is fine. I just got to make sure I don't lose this one. But he comes with a really, really cool pumpkin bomb with a kind of flaming effect coming off of it in the back, which is very, very comic reminiscent. So I like that a whole lot. The flame coming off looks really good. I like the paint, the orange and yellow paint. Very, very cool. And then you have, here's a closer look at the pumpkin face. Really nice details etched in. Some nice lines going down the center, the yellow eyes, the yellow mouth to make it look like it's lit up. You know, the fire in the back, probably, you know, making it light, which looks really, really cool. And here's a look at the bottom of it. Really, really nice. Got the top, got the stem there, which seems to be almost black in nature, not even dark brown. I was thinking it was dark brown, but it actually seems black. And yeah, so you got that nice, you know, trailing stream of fire behind it. It looks really, really cool. Very, very nice mix of the orange and yellow in there. So really, really nice. Pumpkin bomb normally comes with 2 of those. And we have a really, really cool Toybiz stand for this guy with some gnarly details. So you got the goblin face on there looking crazy. I mean, look at the gums, the gum line with the teeth and that crazy smile. And then you've got all these pumpkin bombs kind of, you know, going around the outside, the border. Really nice with the purple background. And yeah, nice, you know, gray base with 2 peg holes on it, which is nice. So if you want to keep this guy on a stand, you can do that. And yeah, just gray at the bottom. On the bottom of the stand, it says copyright 2004 Marvel Entertainment Toybiz WW copyright 2004 made in China. So yeah, this guy actually came out the same year as the McFarlane Spider-Man, which is really cool. So yeah, Toybiz was pumping out a lot of really great figures in the early 2000s. And man, I sure wish they were still around, man. But, you know, we got what we got. We're blessed to at least have a toy company still making Marvel Legends to this day. So that is cool. All right, so all that being said, let's take a look at Green Goblin's articulation. We will still take a look at the source material just so we can do like a comparison to that. But again, I'm not going to do the full clean figurine scale for this guy. Just going to do a very, you know, normal style review, very basic, you know, but still we're going to hit all the important and major points on him for sure. So let's see. I guess I'll actually show the artwork off first, just so we can get that out of the way, just so you can see what this Green Goblin is based on, this figure. And this is probably like one of the best full body images that I could find of him online. So this is the Alex Ross style Green Goblin. So this is how he looked in Alex Ross comics. But yeah, really, really dope drawing or painting of the Green Goblin. Very, very nice. He's got, you know, the classic colors. He's a little lighter in green, green color. He's not so much of the dark green, kind of a lighter green. Same thing with the purple. Purple isn't too dark, but Definitely looks, goblin in appearance. And then you got the really cool, he's holding a nice pumpkin bomb right there. You can see it's smoking, got a nice smoke effect. And then the glider, of course, got all that smoke trailing from the exhaust. Really, really nice. And he's got his handbag, which of course holds all of his bombs and other weapons like razor bats and such. So very, very cool. And it's like a very sinister look. I love the look, in the face. And matter of fact, we're gonna touch on that right now in a little more detail. So one of the things that made me really want to get this figure in particular, like this particular goblin, is the face sculpt, because I think the face sculpt is one of the coolest things I've ever seen on a 6-inch, Green Goblin figure. You'll notice that the eyes, look at those eyes. So normally, right, we're used to seeing Green Goblin with like, the all yellow eyes or goggles, where you can't like see anybody underneath. But in this figure, you can actually see Norman's eyes underneath the goggles, which I think is one of the coolest effects I've ever seen on a figure. Like, look at that. That is insane. That nice kind of shiny plastic for the the goggles, and then you can actually, like, they're like translucent, so you can see Norman's eye under there. Like, look at that. How crazy and kind of creepy does that look? But it's so cool because it reminds you that there is actually a person under there. And then the face sculpt itself is really cool, because I feel like if you were to paint this, like if you were to strip away the green paint off of his face, right, and give him like a flesh tone color for like the face and the skin, it would look like a human. I mean, minus like, the monster teeth and whatnot. But like, let's just say he had like normal teeth. Doesn't, like, look at the overall shape of the face. It actually looks like Norman. Like, you can see Norman in the face, which is crazy. I just really like that Alex Ross in particular was able to kind of paint, the Green Goblin like that. So like, it's just enough to conceal Norman's identity, but at the same time, you can tell that there's like somebody under there. Like this, this isn't a mutant or some kind of like crazy creature. This is an actual like human being in a suit and just, obviously going insane and deranged. But just, this is one of the coolest head sculpts I've ever seen on a Goblin figure. And so that's what drew me in, and that's why I had to go for it. And then, once I found out that it was based on Alex Ross's artwork, I was like, oh yeah, I'm all in, man. I'm all in. I feel like when it comes to Spider-Man, it took me like a little minute for me to kind of, get used to Alex Ross's style for Spider-Man. I feel like it took a little bit of time for it to like grow on me, because I remember I used to see images of, his Spider-Man back in the day, and like how hyper realistic it, it was. And I feel like his Spider-Man also usually has like the kind of bigger proportions, like he's got more muscle to him and whatnot. So I guess at first maybe it wasn't my favorite look for Spidey, but it definitely grew on me, over time. And as an adult, I have a lot more appreciation for, his style, because it was very, very unique and just super dope. Combining that realism with the comic style, it was just very, very dope. And he's pretty much the only person I've seen that's been able to like successfully pull off that specific type of style. So very, very cool. But yeah. There goes stuff falling. But there's like a nice up close look at his face, and I really love the head sculpt. Very, very nicely done. And so let's get into play and display, the articulation section. So we'll start with the head. Head and the neck kind of move together. Let's see. I'm just gonna fiddle with this real quick just to see something. Okay, yeah. So it seems like the head and neck are molded together. So it's like one piece, or they're separate pieces, but they are like connected. So it's like, let me see, let's zoom out a little bit here. Zooming out a bit. There we go. All right. So yeah, for articulation, the head and neck kind of move up in tandem. He doesn't get a whole lot. But the funny thing about it is, it's like the way they molded his head, and I'm not sure why they did this, but like even when you have him in a kind of like normal, like neutral position, like looking forward, his head almost seems like it's looking up a little bit. Like his head doesn't really go down further than that. So even when he's looking straight on at you, it almost looks like he's like looking up a little bit, like even from the side. and like the neck itself is kind of curvy, like where the Adam's apple would be. It kind of like comes out in an angle, so it's kind of like a weird shape for the neck going on, but and that kind of causes his head to look up a little bit, but not too bad. So looking down, not too much. It really doesn't go anywhere. It only goes about, again, that far. It's pretty much stationary once you get to that point. But looking side to side, we get a good range. Side to side, just fine. I think he can do 360. Yep, 360 rotation. His little, be aware that his little beanie, this little, I don't know what the specific name for this is. I always just call it like a little beanie, but his little purple beanie will get stuck on your shoulder as you spin it around on the other side. So just kind of lift his head a bit there, and then you can swivel it all the way back around. All right. As far as like tilting side to side, very minimal. You can tell it's definitely not made for that, but I mean, he gets like a very slight tilting. But yeah, so you have that. I'm gonna go ahead and take his satchel off, his little pumpkin bomb bag, just because it's in the way right now. But for arm articulation, he's able to get very, very high. Look at that, ball and a hinge. Wow, that is actually, holy crap. I don't think I've ever seen a figure get that high of a arm raise. That's crazy. That's like actually way more range than the McFarlane Spider-Man, which is kind of a shame, Like, I wish the McFarlane Spider-Man was able to get his arm up that high. That's crazy. So yeah, that ball and hinge works really nicely. I guess it seemed, because he's got pretty decently sized shoulders, probably like bigger than the Spider-Man, but I guess the way they designed it is really good, because like the cutout for this purple like kind of vest going around him at the shoulders, as you lift the arm up, the ball actually like tucks into that, so it doesn't get hindered as you raise it up. So he's actually able to reach his arms like literally sky high, like above his head. That's crazy. Wow. Way better than a 90 degrees, obviously. So that's dope. Definitely wasn't expecting that much range. Can come back down by his side and looks very natural, of course. We got a nice bicep swivel cut in there. So he does have a nice bicep swivel rotation. We've got maybe a single jointed elbow. So that might be our, slight downfall, or the thing that kind of evens it out, all that super high arm raise articulation. Now we get a little bit hindered when it comes to the elbows, but not too bad. You can still get a nice 90-degree angle, which is nice. I'd say that's like a minimum that we should be getting for at least for a 6-inch figure. But yeah, so we got a single jointed elbow on this guy. Any boot or forearm swivel? Yep. So we do have a forearm or boot, or yeah, I called it boot, glove swivel, I guess is what I meant to say. Yeah, we get a nice forearm swivel. So right there where the purple starts after the green, we can rotate all the way 360. Very nice. And then as far as the hands, actually no hinge on the hands, which is surprising. I thought he would have a hinge, so that might be a little bit disappointing. But yeah, it seems like the hands themselves actually don't have any articulation. There's no hinge here, no swivel. It's really just the forearm swivel. It's connected as one large piece. So yeah, that might be a little bit unfortunate, but not too bad. But yeah, still a really nice sculpt for the forearm and the hands themselves. He's got some nice big size goblin hands. So that's really cool. All right, back down. Oh yeah, obviously, let's see. Yeah, he can get a full 360 all the way around, range of motion. And he actually does have a butterfly joint similar to the McFarlane Spider-Man. So let's see how that works. So yeah, you can actually raise or move his arm forward, and look at that. He looks literally disjointed. That's insane. So he can literally cross his arm all the way across his body like nobody's business. That's actually insane. Like, he can literally get his arm in a straight line across his body to the point that he looks like he's broken his arm. So that's kind of crazy. So that's all the range we get going forward. Imagine if we had that on like Spider-Man. Like, as good as his butterfly joint is, wow, this is like a new level of range. And then going backwards, the butterfly joint itself doesn't really move much backwards, but just with that hinge alone in the shoulder, you're able to get his arm like almost like literally all the way back. So that's crazy. Like, look at that range. Funny thing about this is this butterfly joint is that as well as it works, when you move it forward all the way, it looks really ugly from the back. Look at that. We got a straight up hollow hole. Like I can literally fit my whole index finger inside of there. So that was the way they were able to achieve that. And you can actually see the mechanics in there. Look at that. The green, there's like a little green box there with the screw or something. But yeah, you can actually see like the internal workings of the figure as you move it all the way forward. So that might be the downside of this guy. Definitely you don't want to look at him from the back when he's moving his arms all the way forward. I mean, if you look at it far away, I guess it'll kind of have like the illusion that, you know, just like the shadow just kind of like look black, like it's filled in black so you won't see everything. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, he's that's definitely something that, you know, might you know, that might be like the not downfall, but you know, the thing that kind of this guy suffers in when you start articulating the butterfly joints is that huge gap in the back. That was pretty ugly, but at least he gets the range, right? And most of the time you're probably going to be looking at him, you know, forward anyway, so it shouldn't matter too much. He has like this little button molded like at the top of his back. It doesn't do anything, like it doesn't have any function. This figure, from what I've heard, was actually like a reuse, at least the body was, from like I think it was a Demo Goblin figure from that Toybiz did like beforehand. So they just reused the exact same mold. And I guess that figure had like a gimmick in it or something, but in this one, I think they just like took it out. But yeah, there was something I think that originally this button would do. I forget, probably something for the arms, but in this one they took out the gimmick, but still, you know, kept that button in there, which is kind of an odd choice, but you know, it is what it is. All right. So for the torso articulation, he doesn't have like an ab, like a cut for an ab crunch or anything like that. But let's see. As far as bending forward, he can go like very slightly forward, hardly at all. Not about the same going back, like hardly any range forward or back like that. But let's see, twisting to the side. Okay, yeah, we get a decent twist to the side. It goes about right there before it stops, and you can feel the resistance. So you definitely don't want to push it past that point. But yeah, you can definitely get a nice side-to-side twist. For the legs, let's see here. Yeah, and you'll notice like the sculpt, the way he's pretty skinny too. So like the way they sculpted him, you know, he's like his abs kind of like almost sink in right there. So like, you know, from like after you get from the chest down into the lower torso where the abs are at, it really kind of sinks in, and you actually have like a pretty big gap in between like his abs and the belt that he's wearing. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. And let's see, you can kick the leg forward pretty far, so he gets a nice, you know, 90 degrees high kick. Can't really go, let's see, I guess if you push it a little bit more, yeah, you can get a little better than 90 degrees. Not, I'd say the McFarlane probably still has a little bit better range over that, over you know, this one for the high kick, but still really nice range for Goblin there. Kicking backwards, you can go about that far before it hits the sculpt, which isn't too bad, about the same as like, you know, modern day Marvel Legends from Hasbro, so not too shabby. We do have a cut for a thigh swivel. It's kind of like lower, and you'll notice he has really skinny legs. I know some people don't like that about this figure, especially like he's kind of like got a big you know, thigh gap, or you know, crotch gap, whatever you want to call it, because you know, this diaper piece is kind of like thick in the middle, and then you know, the legs are like, there's like a big gap, and like the legs being so skinny, it doesn't help. So there's a lot of space in between the legs, so people may not like that. I personally don't mind it too much. Even I feel like the movie Green Goblin figure had some pretty skinny legs. I guess that was just a thing that Toybiz did for Goblin for some reason, but again, it doesn't look too bad, and the details are very nice. So yeah, you get a lower thigh swivel there. Let's see, for the knees, it looks like a single jointed knee, similar to the arms. So we get about that much range, which isn't too bad. Still gets to pretty much like his butt, maybe even his lower back. So we get about that much range, which isn't too bad. We got a boot swivel in here, which is nice. Nice boot swivel. So similar to the forearms, we can swivel the boot. And then we have a hinge for the feet. So he's able to hinge the foot all the way down like so. Almost looks like a really cool shape. Almost looks like a like question mark or something, upside down question mark right there. You know, he's got these like pointy shoes, almost like not clown shoes, but like almost like a jester, like a court jester or something like that with those really pointy shoes. But yeah, and then you've got his feet can hinge up really far, which is pretty nice. He can hinge up all the way like that. Bring his leg forward so you can see it better. You can get his foot up like that. And then let's see. You get like a little bit of leaning side to side. Actually, not really. I mean, it's like super slight. Like you can't even notice it, so I wouldn't even count it as far as like, you know, pivoting side to side. But yeah, it rotates with the boot, so you don't have like an individual foot rotation at the bottom. It just rotates with that, you know, boot swivel at the top. So yeah, there you go. And let's see out to the side. Looks like he's on a similar joint to the McFarlane, maybe like a T joint, but he can get a perfect splits, which is really nice. So he's got like the same amount of range as the McFarlane Spider-Man. I think in the review, I don't know if I got his leg, the McFarlane, to go out like quite this wide, but he's definitely capable of it. So he should get like pretty much like a full straight line horizontally all the way out to the side. So that's really nice. Really nice range of articulation on this guy overall. So that's really nice. So that's, you know, one of the big things, one of the big reasons I went for this figure is not only like the look, not only is he like well sculpted and designed, but the articulation is fantastic. Like it's probably the best I've ever seen, not only on a Green Goblin figure, but like almost like any figure, period. Like he's got some insane levels of articulation. So yeah, I thought that was really dope. And then obviously the design itself drew me in, you know, this very stylized Alex Ross design. I really loved it. As soon as I saw it, so I was like, yeah, man, I want that Goblin. When I saw review Spot's, you know, Spot's review of this guy for the first time, I was just amazed by it. I was like, wow, look at that. Imagine a modern day, you know, figure like that. Can you imagine if we got, you know, a figure like this nowadays with all the accessories that he came with? And then imagine if we, like, in addition, we got like an alternate head, like say for Norman Osborn. Just imagine that, all that level of detail, and then like you could swap out the heads too. Oh my gosh, like Hasbro could literally be like one of the best companies. Like their sales would be even higher. Like they would be chilling if they were to put this amount of detail and, you know, care into their, you know, their figures. And then give them, you know, give us like, you know, what they always give us, alternate heads for like, you know, the civilians, so you can swap it out. Just imagine all of that, man, with a figure like that. Like, oh, it would just be insane. But, you know, at least we have these Toybiz gems to always come back to and just appreciate, you know, the pure artwork and just awesomeness of these great figures, man. So really dope. You'll notice right here, I don't think this is intentional. This might be, from what the looks of it, it looks like it's probably paint wear, but you can see these kind of like hinge joints like in his pecs. Those are like part of the butterfly extension joint as you bring the arms forward. So it seems like they were painted purple at first to match, you know, his vest, and then over time you got a little bit of wear, so there's like some green here. On this side it's almost like completely green on this side. So but yeah, just something to note. Let's take a closer look at the accessories again. We have his handbag, his little satchel, his Goblin man bag that holds the pumpkin bombs and razor bats and all his other gadgets and trinkets. But yeah, really nice detail on it. Dark, very dark brown with a black wash going through. You can see the sculpt, all the wrinkles for the top of the pouch. And then coming through the back, you got that nice etched outline of a kind of like a square or a rectangle. Very nice. And you get this long strap, which is pretty soft plastic. It's pliable, you can move it around, but it's kind of fixed in this position so that it'll, you know, hang over his shoulder and look really good. You can hang it across him and it should look really nice. So yeah, very nice accessory there. Again, one more quick look at the pumpkin bomb that he came with. And keep in mind, usually he'll have 2 of these, but yeah, very cool, very nicely done. The orange paint on it looks really solid, all the etched lines, and then even the top like the kind of circle pattern, looking like you can lift up the top. Very cool. You got yellow in there to make it look lit up. And again, that really nice blazing trail of fire behind it. Really, really awesome. So just imagine him, you know, throwing these at Spider-Man. You can make a really awesome display setup with this guy. So that's awesome. And then one last look at the stand, which again has some really, really nice details in it. That face just looks, you know, evil and sinister. And then you've got all the purple for the background and all those pumpkins surrounding him. It's a really, really nice base. We don't get, you know, stands and bases for most of the modern day Marvel Legends. So really nice that Toybiz threw this in. You could tell they definitely wanted, you know, these type of figures on display. And they're probably geared more towards adult collectors back in the day. But you could also obviously get them for kids, which is cool. So there is that. So now that oh yeah, and the glider. Last thing to look at one more time is the glider. Really nice wingspan on the glider too. I want to kind of compare it with the movie Green Goblin glider, but yeah, you can see under here. I don't know if this was intentional or if that's paint wear, but he has like the glider has a bit of a like scratching of the paint or something. So you can see some silver underneath the base of the glider and some more up here. I wonder if that was intentional or not. Kind of seems like, you know, two little streaks or scratches of, you know, the silver paint, but it looks really, really nice overall. Pretty nice. Got that dark, very, very dark gray, red for the eyes. And then here's the top view of the glider. But yeah, really, really cool. So, that being said, I think that'll pretty much do it for this guy. So yeah, really, really solid figure. I liked it a lot. I'm gonna actually put him on the display stand really quick so that we'll get a 360 view of him, and then we'll go straight to size comparisons. So let's make sure we get him standing solid here. All right, so there he is on the display stand, and we'll get some rotation for him starting now. There we go. And there is your 360 look at the Toybiz Sinister 6 box set Green Goblin. Oh, there he goes, falling over. Lost his balance. See if I can get him. See, there we go. Oh, there he goes. Don't fall, homie, don't fall. Don't you fall. Okay, there we go. All right, hopefully he stays up now. He seems to be a pretty well-balanced figure too. With those big feet, he actually balances pretty nicely once you get him in a good stance. So falling over shouldn't be a major problem. I think I just had him a little, you know, off balance right there. But yeah, there is your 360 view of the Goblin. Looking awesome, man. All right, so we'll stop it right here. All right. Moving this aside, we will go ahead and get straight to size comparisons. So moving him back here. Let's see, the first person we will compare him with is his movie counterpart. We have the Toybiz Green Goblin from the Spider-Man 1 movie. I'm going to actually take him off his glider this time just so we can see both gliders side by side, because I do want to see the size comparison between those, like wingspan and whatnot. Yeah, here is our movie Green Goblin. Let's see if I can get him standing. This guy always had kind of small feet, somewhat skinny legs. So let's see, hopefully I can get him to properly balance. Okay, there we go. And wow, you actually see there's actually a significant size difference between these two. The Sinister 6 box set Goblin is actually quite a bit taller than the movie Green Goblin. So that's something to note. He's actually on the bigger side for sure, this new Goblin. So that's something. Even, and the size is obviously quite a bit bigger too. This has more like comic style proportions, definitely a bigger, a little bit more muscular Goblin despite the lanky nature of him. He definitely has, you know, a lot of muscle tones and things. being that he's not in like a super soldier suit. This has like more of a organic look. And that's something else I wanted to point out really quickly too. Before we get into the rest of the size comparisons, he's got a really nice black wash similar to the McFarlane Spider-Man, so that again, like those muscle details are highlighted and the black paint sets in really nice into like those muscle, striations and definitions. And he's got a really nice green shimmer to the paint, which I like, because if you look at Alex Ross's, art style in his paintings, you'll see that, the light, like he draws it or paints it in a way so that it looks real. So like when the sunlight hits a certain part of his costume, it'll look more shiny or, lit up. So that's really cool. And I feel like Toybiz nailed that. I don't know how they did it with the paint on this figure, but they seem to have nailed that look that you see in the comics. You can tell the green on him is like kind of shiny, even though in appearance it looks like mostly matte, but it has like a nice kind of slight pearlescent sheen to it. So the light play off of it is really nice, even like in the arms. And I like that they kind of put like this scaly pattern so that he looks more like a actual goblin, like it's raw like scales and stuff. He's scaly, almost like a lizard. And then yeah, the nice black wash to highlight some of those details. Very nicely done, man. All throughout, even the legs, the boots, all the purple on him. Just really nicely done. All the way, even the beanie. The beanie has quite a bit of black wash in it as well. Look at all the sculpting of his back, the muscles and everything. Very nice, man. Toybiz killed it with this thing. Absolutely amazing goblin figure. I want to actually see if I can get where did it go? The pumpkin bomb in his hand. Here it is. Let's see. I'm not sure which hand he's meant to hold it with, or maybe it doesn't matter. Let's try the right hand. I think someone was saying that he was meant to hold it by the flame, which didn't make any sense, because obviously he's not supposed to be holding the fire part if he's gonna throw it. But wow, that actually kind of feels like a perfect fit. So yeah, maybe he was meant to hold it like this, because the flame seems to fit in there pretty much perfectly, at least in the right hand. But yeah, kind of ironic if that's the case, if that's what Toybiz was going for, that he's holding it by the flame. He definitely should be holding it by the actual pumpkin part, and then the flame should be coming off kind of like after he throws it. But they couldn't do all that, being that the flame is already attached to the pumpkin. So but yeah, this is still like a really nice, man, just a great looking goblin figure. I can't get over how nice it looks. The wash, even in the buckle and everything, the kind of worn bronzy look, the dark brown paint for the buckle, like the belt itself, I mean. Just very nicely done. You'll even see like those bumps. Almost looks like he's got like warts or something going on by his Adam's apple, and that scaly nature. Just really nicely done. And those teeth, look at the teeth. Look how like realistic those teeth look in the mouth. All the black in there, and then the pretty sharp and clean paint too. I don't see a lot of like bleeding or anything, so the paint is actually pretty sharp in this guy. You can see like each individual tooth. It's all sharp and everything. Yeah. And just again, those eyes underneath, like with the goggles, absolutely immaculate. Even like the wrinkles at the top of his forehead as he's kind of like arching or looking up. That is insane, man. This goblin is crazy. Those really big goblin ears. It's probably like the biggest ears I've seen on a green goblin too. Really nicely sculpted and painted ears. Just a beautiful figure, man. Very nicely done. Toybiz killing it as usual. So yeah, again, now we'll get back to the size comparisons. So I'm gonna have him holding his flaming pumpkin. All right, next up we will put him with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure from Mafex, from the DX set. And these two actually scale really nice. And I feel like his costume is so like hyper realistic, even though it's obviously based on the classic style. I feel like it's so, hyper realistic that they could have used this design for the movie. I kind of wish that they did, like at least for the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin in that movie, it was cool. Overall the design was all right, but I still feel like if they had used something like this, people probably would have liked that Goblin way more. And the fight scene at the end was pretty short too, so you know, it would have been nice to see like a longer fight. You know, they had to kind of cram him in after Electro, but yeah, I feel like if this had been like the live action design, oh, it would have been absolutely crazy. Or even for the first trilogy, you know, I love this suit as I love this suit as much as the next person. I know a lot of people hate on this suit or say it looks like, you know, like he looks like a Power Ranger or whatever. I never minded it when I was young because I was like, you know, it's a live action. They're probably not gonna, you know, pull straight from the comics because then it would look kind of corny. But if they were to use this design, I think it would have worked out really well. It's grungy enough to where you can take it serious and it still has the classic look going on. So, and like again, if they had made the eyes kind of translucent so you could see under his goggles, yeah, that would have been like the cake on the icing, or the icing on the cake. But yeah, so that would have been really cool. And this Andrew Garfield Spidey actually scales pretty well with the Goblin. He's only like maybe slightly shorter than the Goblin. In the camera, he actually looks taller, but from this angle, I'd say he's just shorter than the Goblin figure. So that seems to work out well. Next up, we have the Batch 1 and Batch 2 versions of the McFarlane Spider-Man. So on this side, we'll start with the Batch 2. And you can see that one right there. And then here is the Batch 1 version that I just recently got. And you can see they scale pretty well. This one, I think I have his knees bent a little bit more, so he definitely seems like smaller in scale, at least from this angle. But keep in mind, he's like pretty much the same size as this Batch 1 version. So yeah, you can see like overall they scale pretty well. I would say each McFarlane Spider-Man is just a little bit slightly shorter than the Goblin figure. And from this angle, it actually looks like he's taller, but I promise you in person, the Goblin figure is just a little bit taller from the top of the head. But yeah, I'd say they actually scale really well. This would be like a really good pairing, I think. So there you go. Moving these two aside, and then you have the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man from Hasbro. On this side, actually, yeah, quite a bit, like a good, yeah, significantly shorter than, and smaller in size compared to this Goblin right here. So you have that. On this other side, you have the Hasbro Red Hulk Build-A-Figure Wave Black Suit Spider-Man right there. Got the comic Black Suit Spidey. Again, I think they scale pretty well as well. Not too different in height, so there you go. Who else we got? Here is the movie Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from Spider-Man 1. Toybiz. This one is actually a lot smaller in size, so significantly smaller. You probably couldn't scale these guys too well. He almost looks like an ultimate Green Goblin when you compare the size with this Tobey one. But yeah, there is what they look like together. And then on this other side, we'll do the Marvel Legends Retro Card Black Cat. And she actually stacks up better than that Tobey Spider-Man. She's actually quite a bit taller. They actually stack up kind of nicely. So you can see that she's not too much shorter. So I think that actually works out well. Good scaling there from old to new. Who else? For SH Figure Arts, we got the Masked Rider Blade on this side and Hurricane Red on this side right here. So here he is with some SHF figures, which are obviously significantly shorter in size, but actually doesn't look too bad. On the camera, the Red Ranger probably seems like he's pretty tall next to this Green Goblin, but he's definitely like almost a complete head shorter. I know it doesn't look like it from this camera angle, but he's quite a bit shorter. Same thing with the Masked Rider, being that they're pretty similar in height. But yeah, there you have it for your SHF comparisons. Let's see, we'll get him with another villain. We have Carnage from the Venom Wave. Got a Marvel Legends Carnage. Alright, so you got Cletus Cassidy, another very dangerous and sinister villain. On this side, he's actually quite a bit smaller than this Green Goblin. This is actually a pretty big Green Goblin, not only build-wise, but height-wise. He's actually kind of a big guy. And then you have Herman Schultz, the retro card Shocker, on the other side. Back at the camera here. There is Shocker. Shocker actually stacks up pretty nice, not too much shorter than the Green Goblin. Camry actually looks taller, but he is a bit shorter. Trust me on that. All right. So yeah, they stack up pretty nice. Who else we got? We have the wall sticking web Spider-Man back here from Hasbro. I believe this is like a 2008 Spidey figure. And then for McFarlane Toys, we have the gold label Catwoman from the Batman. Robert Pattinson's The Batman. I get her to stand here. Okay, there we go. And you'll see that she is definitely the tallest of the three. But yeah, she's like significantly taller than each of them. So again, 7-inch scale. There you go. Moving them aside, who we gonna finish off with? We got, for some kind of 5.5-inch scale figures, we have the Ninja Flash Thunder Ranger figures on each side, respectively. So we have the two of them looking really nice. Those look pretty good. Obviously significantly shorter than this Green Goblin. We have Taskmaster from Marvel Legends. Hasbro, I call it the Udon Taskmaster, but I know that's not the technical name for it. I keep forgetting to look him up so I can say his name properly in reviews. And then we have the Marvel Legends Matt Murdock Daredevil from No Way Home. And there is the three of them. Very nicely sized up. I think that works good. And for Mattel, we have the New 52, the All-Stars. This guy always has like a long name. I just call it like the New 52 All-Stars style Batman from Mattel. And then the Man of Steel Superman from Mattel. This is the release that came with the Kryptonian command key. Okay, let me get him standing here. Balance, there we go. So there is Soups on his other side from Mattel. So 2 Mattel figures. And yeah, I think they scale actually pretty nicely. Soup's not too much shorter. Same with Batman. So there you have that. And last but not least, we're doing real quick with the Legacy Collection. We have, here we have the White Ranger Legacy Collection, and then we have Lightning Collection on the other side. So we have Legacy and Lightning Collection White Rangers. Dino Thunder, that is. Next to the Green Goblin there, both scaling pretty nicely. This guy definitely scales a little bit better because he's a bit taller. But yeah, there you go. And then we have Mr. Well, he dropped his sword, but we'll ignore that for now. We have Mr. ZD Toys in-game Thanos. Gotta show a nice bigger figure next to him so we get a good sense of the scaling. And then we have Titanium Man from Hasbro, from the old Iron Man line back in the days, around like 2008-ish or so when that first movie came out. So there is the 2 of them next to the Green Goblin. Titanium Man just slightly shorter than the Goblin here, not by too much, and obviously Thanos towers over both. So there it is. That is all the size comparisons, and that is the conclusion of my review of the Sinister 6 box set of Green Goblin. This is the Green Goblin figure that came in that box set. And again, I think it came with Black Cat, Spider-Man, Doc Ock, Kraven, Venom, this Green Goblin and Spider-Man. So in total, there was like 7 figures in that box set when you include Spider-Man. But yeah, this guy was one of the villains that came in that box set. Very, very nice figure. Again, Toybiz killing it as they always did. And yeah, just a great, great figure. Highly recommended if you can find it on eBay or wherever on the aftermarket for a good price. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the review. So this has been your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the Green Goblin from the Toybiz Sinister 6 box set. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Have a blessed day. Peace.